Alright, sounds like Melvinfro is now ready, and we're gonna be going ahead and starting this game soon. Very excited to see how this game turns out. Once again, this is the Gentleman and Melvinfro, two premier players, and the Gentleman was the runner-up champion of last season. These are very highly skilled players. I'm excited to see them live today. Alright, looks like we've got Gentleman playing as Bellified in the bottom left side, and in the top right side we've got Melvinfro playing Archimedes. Now, the Gentleman is running a triple tier 3, not a triple tier 3, a triple defense deck, which is something that I love to see, along with a couple of the Flap Flaps and Lizards. Looks like it's going to be maybe Turtley into late game or a defensive creeps type deck, versus Melvinfro, who's got a more standard Skunk Falcon with boar and squirrels and pigeons. It's going to be a nice game. Looking at the map, it's a little bit sad for Melvinfro. Going to be spawning on the low ground here with a high ground position that's a little bit easy for the Gentleman to maybe take control of or to contest. That just overlooks every little bit of expansion that Melvinfro has. Though Melvinfro does have this little pocket that's also pretty dang exposed. Looking at this game here, it looks like both of the teams decided that they're going to be going for an 8 farm, no early shenanigan gameplay, which is nice. I always love to see that. Always love to see pre-8 shenanigans as well. Just some nice fun games. Let's go ahead and see Melvinfro and the Gentleman going ahead and putting down their first tier 1 Warren. We're going to see Melvinfro is going to go ahead and put on a second one, and the Gentleman follows quickly in a more hidden position. Gentleman opting to put his Warrens at the back, either for a little bit of defense from the behind, as there is this entire stretch of land that does have a little wraparound, whereas Melvinfro prefers the Warrens on defense, which is now a lot more viable, such as the Mole nerf came in. Looks like both teams are going to be just sort of doubling down on these tier 1 Warrens, going up to 4 each. A lot of early power here. See, Gentleman trying to go ahead and scout in, make sure there's no tier 2s or anything other shenanigans happening. Gonna go ahead and pick up his first Gristmill expansion. Nice forward natural. And Melvinfro is gonna be contesting that. He has the army advantage. Gonna go ahead and put down another tier 1 Warren, and he's gonna be moving out. The equal-sized armies under the Warren, the Lizards are probably going to be a little bit stronger here. That's why Melvinfro backs off and takes a Gristmill here, just so he has a little point of attack. Looks like Gentleman sees that he's getting attacked and goes in for some Lizard murder. Gonna go ahead and try to end the game right here. Oh my god. The timing was so tight, but Melvinfro's second base came up just in time. We're gonna see... I think losing all your farms makes the game pretty much over. That being said, let's see if a comeback can happen since Gentleman lost a good portion of his army. Wow. Absolutely wow. What an impressive play coming out of the Gentleman. Takes big balls to do something like that. Gentleman knew his first expansion was gone and decided to expand back. Melvinfro starting to saturate the second Gristmill. The only Gristmill he has, as any damage to his army is now essentially permanent. Takes this fight. Some Lizards are having trouble finding tiles. Turns this fight more in the favor of the squirrels, but I mean, that's it. You can't take heavy losses like those. That was an incredible base take from the Gentleman. Wow. What a goddamn game. Nice job, the Gentleman. Nice job, Melvinfro. Well played all. And that was some spicy gameplay. Alright, looks like we're going to the second game here. Let me update the score real quick. Just remember to have to do that. Alright, the Gentleman's going to be spawning in the upper left, again as Bellified, and the Melvinfro is going to be spawning in the bottom right as Archimedes. Looks like Melvinfro is going to go ahead and opt for toads rather than pigeons, perhaps to counter the lizard gameplay that the gentleman just had. The rest of his team is largely the same. The gentleman, however, is going to be splashing in squirrels and pigeons to go ahead and accompany his 3 tier 2s, rather than his 3 defenses, of chameleons, skunks, and falcons. Looks like it's going to be a nice tier 2 death ball from the gentleman versus Melvinfro's more, again, standard gameplay. I don't know if I should call it standard gameplay. There's a lot of things that could be standard, but he has a nice bit of variety, which I like to see in his team. Looks like once again there's going to be no pre-8 farm shenanigans. Looking at the team here, it does once again slightly favor the gentleman, as there's 2 sort of separate high ground areas. Melvinfro has access to 2 gristmills on that. The gentleman does as well, though they're in a more consolidated position, along with this 3rd gristmill on the low ground, right next to his base, in a nice spicy location. I don't know if Melvinfro is going to take advantage of this, but there is this nice back area that leads straight into that low ground gristmill and straight into the gentleman's first base. Could be quite interesting to see how that goes. Melvinfro is going to be taking his first expansion here, while Gentleman goes ahead and takes up 3 Lizard Warrens versus Melvinfro's 2. Looks like this is going to be an interesting early game. Melvinfro sees that, goes ahead and throws down a Toad Warren, knowing again that he's fighting lizards. Lizards are going to be moving out here. Let's see if the gentleman can get any sort of value or just keep Melvinfro in his base, either of which are completely valuable. That was a redundant sentence in some ways, but we'll see how this goes. Runs in, runs out. Very good. Melvinfro is starting to saturate that first base. The gentleman going ahead and getting his first base. This is going to be very interesting. Gentleman multiplying his Lizard Warrens. Melvinfro going ahead and getting more Toads. Toads are insane. 6 of them could probably wipe out the gentleman's entire army. Looks like Melvinfro is caught away, so gentleman tries to take an engage here. Let's see that army graph. Looks like the gentleman still took a little bit of a loss compared to Melvinfro. And the gentleman saw that the farms were getting built and starts trying to saturate his second mill himself. See how this goes. Going back in. Melvinfro just trying to get more and more farms down, making sure his eco is ahead of the gentleman, since he knows full well that gentleman can't push in here with just lizards into his toads under a base. So the gentleman realizes this as well and goes ahead and builds some squirrel warrens and a skunk warren. He sold off a lizard warren to do that and is trying to keep up another farm here, where Melvinfro has put down his boar warren on the high ground here. Extremely scary. Put down a skunk. I noticed that Melvinfro also put down a tier 1 squirrel warren up there earlier. Again, I wager that was a just to make the gentleman think that that is all that is there now. Helps to prevent rescouting it. Looks like they're both going for a bit of a saturation game. I wonder how Melvinfro is going to keep this hidden, if the gentleman's ever going to find it or be able to punish it. Looks like the gentleman's finally going to go ahead and take the farming lead on Melvinfro, though Melvinfro has for longer kept that income lead, so he is still ahead for at least the time being. Looks like chameleons are going to be going up soon from the gentleman, while Melvinfro is getting skunks and is going to be buffing up his tier 1 more. Very good idea to get skunks against the gentleman, and very good idea for gentleman to get skunks against Melvinfro, as they both have a lot of tier 1. Let's see, the gentleman is going to go ahead and fully saturate his mill, and Melvinfro does the exact same thing. And the gentleman is starting to splash in pigeons, gearing up for his tier 2 death ball with 2 falcon warrens on the way. However, Melvinfro is also getting 2 falcon warrens, and the boar is now up. I'm not too good at this whole tempo or timing thing, but now Melvinfro has a lot of good time to get in a solid strike in. Let's see what happens here. Melvinfro waiting for a couple of falcon reinforcements, perhaps. Trying to get a couple farms down ahead of the gentleman, or a farm down ahead of the gentleman on his 3rd expansion, where the 5-minute mark has just hit, so everyone's econ did just take a slightly heavy hit. Melvinfro just going ahead and scouting, making sure the gentleman's army has no surprises. Melvinfro is going to go ahead and keep getting that Falcon Ball up. Many more Falcons than the Gentleman. I would say Melvinfro has an army that outclasses Gentleman's on multiple fronts. Just showing the advantage of having such an early farming lead for so long go uncontested. The Gentleman is going to go ahead and get his third Gristmill now. One thing that could make a bigger difference in this fight than I expect is the pigeons. I don't see pigeons in a lot of my games, and I don't run them in a lot of my games, but they do come in an unexpected thing. Gonna help keep his units alive during the damage that the skunk and the boar lays down from Melvinfro. Looks like Melvinfro is gonna go ahead and pretty much almost entirely saturate his second mill, while the Gentleman is struggling to get almost halfway saturated. Looks like Melvinfro is sensing weakness. Nope. Let's see. Yes, a fight might break out here. Will Melvinfro choose to lead with the boar? No, Melvinfro chooses to back off and buff up his army a little bit more, get a couple more warrens. Let's take a look at the income. Melvinfro is continuing to take advantage of the economy. Melvinfro has had a grasp on the economy for the entire game, save a couple minutes in the middle there, maybe seconds. Falcons at this high mass are extremely good at denying scouting, and the Gentleman is having a hard time getting in to see if there's any more shenanigans on Melvinfro's side. The Gentleman is almost fully saturated on his third Gristmill, gonna go ahead and pick up his fourth Gristmill expansion. If this game goes on too much longer, it will tip back into the Gentleman's favor, as he has more Gristmills on his side. Melvinfro continuing to build up his Falcon Deathball. The Gentleman also doing a good job on building up his, though it is still half as good as Melvinfro's full capacity. Looks like, I can't tell what that is. It looks like a balloon has gone down. Hoping to get some vision on this high ground. Probably the high ground might be something that's been scaring Melvinfro for a while. Wants to make sure the Gentleman can't do any like little wraparound things. Balloons are very good for scouting information. The Gentleman is going to go ahead and take the farming lead by taking advantage of his fourth Gristmill here. This is the time for Melvinfro to strike. Let's see. Melvinfro has over 350 food for reinforcements here, while the Gentleman has basically none. A bigger army to boot. A lot of flames and a lot of Falcon Fire are going down. Looks like Melvinfro is going to go ahead and take the advantage. Saves the boar. Quite impressive. Decides not to use the bomb and decides to say, hey, this is a tier 3 unit. I want this alive. And the boar goes ahead and takes a stinky, stinky bath. Wow, what a good save. I have not seen a boar live on that low HP in my life. That was perfect micro. Well said, Kipo. Melvinfro taking that third expansion from Gentleman is going to go ahead, or I guess the second expansion and third base from the Gentleman is going to go ahead and cripple the Gentleman's economy, and is once again, the Gentleman is behind and Melvinfro takes the economic advantage. 12 toads going straight into a bunch of squirrels there, and chameleons, that is game. There was a lot of other falcon and boar fire happening there, but the toads, I think, deserved a special shout out as they shredded that army. Alright, well played from round 2. Good job, Melvin. That was some insane gameplay. Coming up from the both of you, actually. Alright, Melvinfro taking a little bit of time to choose his deck here. The Gentleman looks like he's going to be running a tier 3, or a triple tier 3 deck with squirrels, skunks, and barbed wire. Something I love to see. Meek actually recently turned me on to my favorite triple tier 3 to being Fox, Owl, and Wolf. Something that I hadn't really thought about or ran before, but now when I run triple tier 3, I always choose those units because, oh, they just feel so good together. Love to see it. Can't wait to see if he gets all 3 of those tier 3s out. And Meek is shouting in chat that that is his deck. Oh yes, Meek, you'd love to see that deck in play from the Gent. Let's go. Meek actually calling out that he beat Gent with it the other day. I'm excited to see how the Gentleman uses it against Melvinfro. It is a very unexpected and high-octane deck. Alright, Melvinfro pulling out his own double tier 2 deck, or double tier 3 deck, leaving Falcon as his only tier 2. Generally, in the past, you've always seen Falcon paired with Skunk, just because the Skunk is so good at killing everything on the ground, all the tier 1 units that can shoot upwards. I think Melvinfro is foregoing this and choosing to take Boar, owl, and frogs, because they are all also amazing at getting rid of the ground units. Toads especially receiving a buff this patch. You can see them doing an extremely good job at helping keep falcons alive without the need of using skunks. Looking at the map here, Melvinfro spawned in the left corner, while the gentleman spawned in the bottom right side. So far, I'm not seeing any pre-8 farm shenanigans coming up from either player. Both of them like to stick to the to the 8 farm approach. I do like to stick to that approach as well, so I completely understand. Let's see what happens here. There's a couple of nice cabin properties in the top corner of the map. I don't think those are going to see a lot of play, but it'd be interesting to see if one of them decides to go ahead and take those and pick them up. There's a lot of gristmills in the center here with a high ground separating them. That makes for some of the most interesting gameplay, I think. Whoever takes advantage of this high ground the best, which it is slightly favoring the gentleman since there is a wall on the bottom left side of the slope, though it's also it's also a little bit closer to Melvinfro, which might make it a bit easier for Melvinfro to take advantage of it. I'm interested to see how it goes. The gentleman is going to go ahead and take up his first gristmill after the 2 standard warrens, and Melvinfro is going to go ahead and take down 3 warrens. I see Totally Not Gorus asking me for a quick cabin review. Let's go ahead and check. Now, if you like a lot of secluded areas, both of these cabins are on their own high ground. Essentially no neighbors around, a little bit of separation from both of these gristmills and each other. This cabin in particular has a nice backyard area, which is extremely nice. I would go ahead and wager $100,000 starting bid for this cabin, and $50,000 for this cabin. It is a bit of on a precipice and a nice view all around. However, I wouldn't recommend either of these houses if you like neighbors. Getting back to the game here, the gentleman and Melvinfro have gone up to 10 farms, saturating... Ooh, the gentleman is going to go ahead and continue to saturate his farm. Going ahead and placing down some barbed wire for some extra amazing coverage on this area over here. Going to be very hard for Melvinfro to push in with only squirrels with this barbed wire going down. Both of them just saturating their gristmills. And Melvinfro taking advantage of this high ground that I was talking about earlier. It's going to be hard for Gent to go ahead and get into this position since this high ground is going to be so effective at controlling everything in this area. The gentleman does have another expansion over here, but it is not as powerful as these expansions out here. So we're going to go ahead and see how this goes. And to answer chat, yes, this cabin does come with a gun. Both of them do, sticking right out. The current owners of the gun might get a little bit feisty to try to take it from them, though. A few more pieces of barbed wire going down. It looks like Gentleman is just trying to protect his little area for his Tier 3 gameplay going down. Just remembered that he is going for these triple Tier 3 shenanigans. Wolf going down right now. The boar also went down from Melvinfro. Melvinfro likes to go for these squirrel gameplay straight into boar. Gonna go ahead and get a balloon for some extra vision, something that's gonna be extremely valuable. I believe if Melvinfro gets the timing window and attacks at the right time here, he's going to have an absolute advantage. If not, the gentleman is going to have an insane army with Kasha now going down right now. Melvinfro going to go ahead and pick up some of those falcons now that the boar is not in production yet, but close to production. Going to be very good for keeping those falcons alive. Let's see, Melvinfro going up to 3 balloons, one here, and another protecting this cabin, making sure there's no shenanigans up here. Gonna go ahead and take this 3rd expansion as Melvinfro was looking to start saturating some more. Looks like the gentleman went ahead and placed his Owl Warren down, going for the triple wombo combo. You love to see it every day of the week, let's go! Alright here. The wolf is getting built at about the same time as this boar is getting built. They're going to be coming up at around the same time, and I believe Melvinfro might be using that as an opportunity to get some falcons down. Oh! Melvinfro is going for a double Owl Warren play. Going to go for the Long Kana as well. I wonder how this is going to play out. Both of them going for 5 Tier 3 warrens coming up from the gentleman, as the gentleman has placed another Owl and Kasha Warren. Both of them going super heavy on the Tier 3 this game. This is incredible. You love to see this. The boar and the wolf are now up. The wolf is going to go ahead and speed up the production of these, the other warrens and of the pigs producing farming material. Melvinfro now getting up the balls to go ahead and scout, seeing some more owl warrens, wolf warrens, fox warrens, every type of warren. It is terrifying. I wonder how Melvinfro is going to go ahead and respond to this. Melvinfro responds by putting down another owl warren. One owl in the middle of being produced, another owl about to start being produced once it's not supply blocked. Let's see, rallying his army. He doesn't look like he's going to push because the gentleman's already got one of each tier 3 up, another owl halfway on its way, and a Kasha a quarter of the way on its way. Starting to sell some of this barbed wire. It looks like it's time for the gentleman to make his move. And it's going to be incredibly difficult pushing into balloons as neither Kasha, nor skunks, nor owls, nor wolf can push into them without casualties. He must get those squirrels out there. Looks like he's taking the position, taking out this one. Nope, the balloon stays up, that's going to be huge, but Kasha's been sniping away at that boar like nobody's business, dealing an insane amount of damage. The boar goes down in seconds. These pigs, every single unit's going down extremely fast. Second Kasha is up. The balloon is starting to get fire by the squirrels while the skunks were tanking. This owl is up, and the second owl is also up, but gets kind of countered by the gentleman's 2 owls of their own, plus the wolf. All these squirrels are extremely important here, as the squirrels are, squirrels and Kasha are the only thing able to hit this flying units. One owl goes down, this balloon goes down. This looks like an absolute decimation from the gentleman, and it looks like Melvinfro is gonna go ahead and tap here. That was incredible. Meek's deck is absolutely insane. I highly recommend trying it out for all of you that would love to try something crazy. You get all those tier 3 up, as you saw the gentleman do, and you just shred through everything. That was incredible. Alright, gentleman going up to 2 points here. Let's see what happens. Whew! Wow, need a break and some water there. Alright, looks like the gentleman is spawning in the upper left corner, with Melvinfro spawning in the bottom left corner. Looks like they're picking the same commanders. The decks are pretty different from the gentleman, while Melvinfro's is almost exactly the same. I'm having trouble remembering the entirety of Melvinfro's last composition. I believe there wasn't pigeons last time, but there might have been. It could be the exact same thing. While the gentleman is going back to a more standard deck with Squizzards, Falcon, Skunk, and Owl and Mines. Let's see, looks like, I wonder if we're going to see any pre-8 farm shenanigans this time around. Looks like we are. The gentleman's going to go ahead and put down a 6 farm, 1 Warren. Let's see if Melvinfro goes ahead and scouts that. It's been a few games without any sort of shenanigans, so it might take a little bit longer. Nope, Melvinfro scouts it pretty quickly, going up to 8 farms. Gonna go ahead and see if they sell one. Sells 1 farm, goes ahead and puts down a Warren, while the gentleman is starting to saturate all the way up. Let's see what happens here. Melvinfro goes ahead and doubles down on that Warren. And the gentleman responds by completely saturating. A good rule of thumb I found, and I think a lot of us are told, is to keep 1 farm ahead of your opponent, and I believe the gentleman is going to go ahead and maybe get the advantage from doing that. Not going to be able to get some early damage out because these squirrels did come up in time, and lizards attacking under a Warren with any sort of defense is extremely difficult. The gentleman going to go ahead and put down his 2nd Warren here. And Melvinfro going to go ahead and put down his 3rd. It's going to be Toads this time. Seeing this lizard aggression from the gentleman makes Toads extremely tasty. Probably going to go ahead and nullify anything the gentleman tries to do. The gentleman is going to go ahead and put down these mines, as those are going to be extremely useful scouting tools and maybe going to be able to turn the tides of war at some point. Let's see how this goes. I believe Melvinfro did see this mine, gonna go ahead and destroy it. That is gonna be a 20 food loss, but the gentleman knows he's away, tries to do something, but isn't gonna be able to make anything happen. Looks like both of them are on nope. The gentleman goes up to his 5th Warren, while the Melvinfro is on his still getting his 5th Warren as well now, and gonna start saturating that base. Gentleman goes ahead and puts down his 6th tier 1 Warren. Tries to deny scouting maybe. The gentleman is gonna go ahead and get all the way in. The gentleman's going to take, or Melvinfro's going to go all the way in. Gentleman's going to try to take advantage by going in on Melvinfro, but decides to back off. Melvinfro is going to go ahead and put down some more Warrens, as he does have a slight economic advantage, having his 2nd Gristmill up and defended, and having a farm on it. I wonder what the gentleman's going to try to do about it. Squizzards are entirely up. Gentleman did put down a mine here. I don't know if Melvinfro saw that. I don't think Melvinfro did. Gentleman's gonna go ahead and put down his second Warren now. Melvinfro's gonna go ahead and get Pigeons up at this point. I think maybe a little bit of a controversial pick since Toads don't like Pigeons and the Gentleman only has tier 1 units when you'd like to see it more against things like Skunks, or on more heavy hitting units like Boars. Then again, these are the premier players and it might be a little bit more effective than I expect. Melvinfro and the Gentleman going to go ahead and go up to 3 farms here. Once again, Melvinfro did have the advantage in this farm working for an extended period of time over the Gentleman's. So the Melvinfro should be... Melvinfro should be seeking being a little bit higher in economy right now. Going to go ahead and start to try to get this farm fully saturated, going up to 6 farms. I believe the Gentleman didn't see that. Oh, one mine getting triggered here. Looks like a fight's gonna break out. Trying to kite the Toads into getting bad connections here. Lizards and squirrels going down on to these squirrels and pigeons. Looks like the pigeons weren't able to do enough. Maybe it was the bad connections the Toads had, but the Gentleman was able to turn that fight into his favor. Gonna go and try to punish, but the Toads and squirrels are up in time to make this an extremely bad punish. I believe the Gentleman was in a good position until he maybe overextended. I'm not sure. It was a very difficult window to hit, though the Gentleman, looking at this graph, looks like stays in the lead. However, Melvinfro does have the farming advantage still, even after the Gentleman started saturating this mill, and Melvinfro had it for longer. So, we'll see how it goes. Necromancer in chat says that pigeons counter the mine attrition, but the Toads drop the ball against the bigger army. I think I completely agree with that. The pigeons are pretty effective against the mines, and yeah, the Toads did have a bit of trouble. The Gentleman does have skunks producing, and Melvinfro, I don't believe, has any idea about it. Starts to put down a boar warren, hoping that the Gentleman tries to stay home long enough for that boar to come up, while the Gentleman is going to go ahead and put down a sneaky third expansion. It's going to be a little bit before Melvinfro finally finds that, and is going to go ahead and put down his own owl warren. Gentleman completely specced out of lizards, by the way, going entirely into the squirrel category. Something I don't know if is ideal against the new Toads. The new Toads have been surprisingly effective against squirrels. I tend to like to have 2 different tiers of tier 1, one of them exclusively for getting blown up on, and another for actually surviving and dealing damage. However, the Gentleman is opting to go for entirely squirrel gameplay, which should go nicely against the Falcons that are going to be coming up, and are still actually able to kite Toads. The boar is starting to get produced, as well as his 3rd gristmill. And the Gentleman is starting to halfway saturate this gristmill, starting to take the economic lead against against Melvinfro. Let's see, the Gentleman going ahead and take a 4th expansion. However, Melvinfro did just scout this base. So it looks like we'll see what Melvinfro does in response. Melvinfro does try to econ up to that level of that base. The boar is going to be almost out here in the next like 10 seconds or so, 15 seconds. While the owl is going to be up a little bit after that. Shouldn't make a huge difference. It's just going to be that the Gentleman and Melvinfro won't have a push window on each other. Looks like Melvinfro is going to go ahead and take the lead in Falcons thus far, just army value-wise. Just like cap-wise, they both have the same maximum. The Gentleman is going to go ahead and fully saturate this mill. Same with Melvinfro. Gentleman and Melvinfro are going to be at the same exact economy. Melvinfro, looking for another expansion, goes ahead and goes for this island. Looks like the Gentleman is going to go ahead and take the Falcon advantage here. Having 2 flyers with a bunch of mice is amazing against Toads. Toads hate mice. They explode on them for 0 value. It's insane. I believe that completely invalidates a part of Melvinfro's army, which is going to give the Gentleman a pretty decent advantage here. The Gentleman is going to go ahead and get the economic advantage against Melvinfro again, and go ahead for the 2nd Owl Warren. Normally, I like 2 Owl Warrens having 2 Owl Warrens over a single one, but against Toads, a single Owl Warren will do wonders. Once again, looks like the Gentleman is putting down a ton of mines as well. It's going to be extremely difficult for Melvinfro to be able to push in without heavy casualties here. Toads will be pretty good at minesweeping since they are basically dead meat anyways. However, Melvinfro going to go ahead and go for a second boar. Going to be extremely valuable since the gentleman is going for 3 owls. 2 boars is a pretty solid number for making sure that mice can't do anything to your army. We'll see how this goes. If this game goes a lot longer, I don't know how this is going to go. This map has been pretty even. I believe it might be a little bit gentleman favored since he has had this high ground here, which may have prevented Melvinfro from pushing in earlier. That being said, they both had an even amount of gristmills on each side though, and they are getting to the point where those are going to be both fully saturated soon. Melvinfro want to have him pop a balloon here to make it a tiny bit harder to scout and get a lot more information on this area up here. Though the gentleman, I believe, got a good scout. No, the gentleman didn't get a good scout. Still doesn't know about that boar warren. Melvinfro going up to triple boar. I don't know if I agree with triple boar. I love to see triple of things, so I'm going to like it anyways. But I don't know if it's a solid tactical decision. The gentleman's going to go up to 5 owls. If 5 owls come up, I don't think there's a bad chance in hell for Melvinfro to win this one. Oh, I didn't notice this gristmill right here. This gristmill is going to make it a little bit easier for a gentleman to take the pressure of this game extremely well. Third owl coming up, just around the time the second boar is coming up. This is good for the gentleman. Let's see. Falcons going up a lot. They're both at 7 Falcon Warrens each for a total of 14 Falcons. This is pretty even Falcon gameplay, and Falcon numbers do tend to win wars. Melvinfro also having the pigeon advantage here, which is going to be extremely helpful against the mice, but oh, look at that damage. The boar does not go down. The pigeon's going to be able to heal that right up right quick. All the mice went down there. Looks like this might actually be a Melvinfro advantage here, where I would have normally expected it to be a gentleman advantage. The power of work that 2 boars can do is just incredible, especially with all those pigeons backing them, and all those falcons. Let's see, the gentleman tries to get a falcon advantage over Melvinfro, but Melvinfro also does the same. It looks like both of them are going to get 2 more falcon warrens. These are a lot of flat flaps, folks. This game might come down to... This game has the potential to come down to whoever saturates that last farm last. This is an insane war of attrition right now. Melvinfro doing a little bit of minesweeping here. Gonna do peanuts of damage against those boars. Boars are gonna go ahead and kite those guys back. Falcons are gonna be shredding each other in the meantime. 1 boar went down, I think? Was that a boar bomb? Looks like Melvinfro took the advantage in that fight, I believe. Only barely. Look at that army graph, folks. All the way at the bottom, all the way to the top. These are some incredibly small increments. What a crazy slope that is. Mount Everest, Black Diamond looking slope. Attacking off of the high ground is the gentleman going into this army here, keeping these owls back and alive for mice to be running straight into a spit roast. Another boar goes down here. Incredible value coming out from that. However, the gentleman lost more falcons than Melvinfro. Wonder if that's going to play a huge difference in this fight here, or whether the boar going down is going to make a bigger difference. Another boar going down here, going to wipe out all the squirrels and mice. It looks like it's 6 falcons on Melvinfro's side compared to 3 falcons on the gentleman's side, 2 falcons on the gentleman's side. Looks like Melvinfro's falcon advantage, but it is going to be the gentleman's tier 3 advantage. The tier 3 is going to make a huge difference here because the falcons aren't going to be able to do much to defend. If it wasn't for all these tier 3s, I believe Melvinfro would have the advantage, but now these mice are just wreaking havoc on Melvinfro's field, killing pigs, killing warrens, attacking things that they shouldn't be attacking. Wow. The gentleman was able to get all that value for essentially free after the fight had happened. 1 boar comes back up, which is good, but 2 of these boar warrens aren't doing anything. Oh, 1 of the boar warrens isn't doing anything since it is currently supply blocked. These mice are going to go, and again, probably going to shred this gristmill extremely fast. As well as I think I saw a warren go down. Another warren might go down here. It's getting healed by pigeons, though. All that value, not enough time. These farms are starting to dwindle, folks. Looks like some of the damage that's going to be done is going to start to become permanent soon. The gentleman is specking out of the mines. I don't know if there's much Melvinfro can do here. He's going to need some extremely amazing falcon play, gonna have to get rid of all the opponent's falcons as well as all the opponent's owls if he wants something to happen. This gristmill is gonna go down extremely easily. The boars are gonna be a good cleanup crew though, but not after a couple of pigeon warrens are destroyed. The gentleman is starting to get so much pressure so that Melvinfro cannot push back into him, and the gentleman is able to start saturating this final gristmill. The Melvinfro is going to go ahead and put down an entirely dead gristmill just to take mice tanking. But it is not enough. It looks like the gentleman's army is starting to completely overwhelm, and Melvinfro goes ahead and taps.